This is the first house I've built that effectively merges two critical aspects of base building, online and offline defense. The raid cost exceeds 80 rockets, and I'll share how I accomplished this. It's no secret that the more peaks, angles of fire, and holes you have inside your base to control various pathways, the easier it is to defend your base online. Let's be honest, if you build a monolithic cube with 3 walls up to the TC and a clan comes to raid you, you're unlikely to have much success in that situation. On the other hand, if you have a base prepared for online raiding, a Chinese clan will still wipe you out, but you'll at least have a chance to fight back and experience the kind of emotions we all love this game for. In today's video, I'll show you how to combine these two elements. Just imagine having a house that's perfect for both online and offline defense. The idea is to build the foundation of your future home. It will have multiple angles of fire, my OP pixel peaks for roof camping, a bunker in the main area, an open core for 10 boxes, and of course turrets to control everything. What's more, even when your house is unfinished, you'll still be able to use it fully. After all, it still has my favorite initial angle of fire, which will eventually transform into an unlootable weapon storage, costing 11,000 sulfur to loot. And it will only take you slightly over half a box of resources to build the entire house. So you build the house and think, well, they're definitely going to blow me up tonight. But that's not a problem, because you can build the compound around the house that I'll show you today and increase the raid cost of your base to 80 rockets. And that's if they know where to blow. External bunkers, various pixels, combat spawns, open core, turrets, turbines, air defense, and I'll show you all of this from the inside right now. As always, the house looks simply brilliant from the outside. You can make 2 external TC, but you don't have to. You can build the house without them. The entrance gate to the territory is your spawn point, as well as a firing position. You can shoot from here both inside and outside the compound, and you can store everything you need for online defense in the small boxes. There is quite a lot of space on the territory itself, and there are also automatic turrets located behind double chains. There are also such outbuildings on the territory. I will explain later why they are needed, but for now, know that they can be used to control most of the territory under the house. On the other side of the house is a refinery, as well as a second exit from the territory. The house is symmetrical. Everything is the same here. But the entrance to the house itself is only one, and this turret is responsible for its protection. This is the most thought out and convenient second floor for use. There are 2 loot rooms for 10 boxes that cannot be broken by splash, a 3rd workbench for various crafts, 2 unlootable lockers located at the initial firing position, as well as turrets that shoot directly into the loot rooms through the ramps. And of course, behind the HQM door is the HQM bunker. We will return to it later, but for now, let's look at the firing position, because the firing position is the best thing about this house. But that's not for sure, because you haven't seen the whole house yet. From this firing position, you can control 2 entrances to the territory at once. And besides, there are a huge number of firing positions down and into the distance, from which you can also control the entire external territory of your house. Remember, I recently released a video with my new pixel firing positions, and here I decided to implement the same thing, but only in a slightly different variation. It will be very difficult to kill you in such gaps, and if someone decides to climb onto your roof, then you have a special peak for control. There will be no one indifferent to this. The most important thing on the firing position is these ramps, which give the most accurate information about what is happening on the second floor. And of course, next to this ramp is the combat spawn, so you can go out and start defending your home. Offline, all this will look so that the turret always shoots down and controls your spawn point. From the second ramp, we have the best peak on the descent into the main, as well as directly on the entrance to the house. And right above the turret that controls our entire firing position, we have an ascent to the roof. The area also has 2 turrets, as well as a huge number of pixel peaks. It will be very difficult to kill you in all of these gaps. Plus, you can adjust how much you peek out of them. And even if someone wants to destroy these turrets on the roof with a copter, it will be very difficult to do so because they are almost invisible. As you can see, it is very easy to move around this house. It will be very convenient to use this house in survival. Now let me show you the main area and the bunker. To open it, you need to stand on the sleeping bag and break 2 straw ceilings. One ceiling is freely accessible on the left, the second is behind 2 windows on the right. To open this bunker, you need to break 2 ceilings at once. That is, breaking one will not open the bunker. And to close it, do as I do in the video. I can already see comments that this bunker can be opened and bypassed from the outside. Here are the tests. You will not be able to bypass this bunker, so it will have to be blown up anyway. And here is the maintenance of the whole house in front of you. Yes, these are very small numbers for such a house, but I haven't shown you any cool features yet. I would like to say the following about the house. It is very comfortable to use on wipe. It is quite spacious and has a large number of boxes in easy access. But in offline defense, this house is very weak. Well, its main area. But this is completely compensated by such bunkers in which there are 2 boxes and 1 large battery on each side. We get 2 bunkers on this side, and on the other side we also have 2 bunkers. So to open these 4 iron bunkers, you will need 30 rockets. Well, not 30, okay, 28. Also in today's guide, I will show you how to build such bunker multi-TC. You will have 2 of them, and this will add another 14 rockets to the raid. But that's not all, because there is another hiding place in our gate. It's called a pixel gap, and there are 2 boxes in each. To take everything from both sides, you will need to spend another 14 rockets. And in total, to take the loot from the whole street near this house, you will have to pay at least 55 rockets. And we will also have the central house, in which we plan to survive. Not everyone will have enough to take everything. While I was working on this house, I released 2 new videos on Patreon. These are the 2nd and 3rd private bases. The first house is designed for solo duo players. It has a pixel shooting floor, 2 bunkers, and a unique TC system that I haven't seen anywhere else yet. The second house is a massive base for a whole wipe. It has internal bunkers, a compound combat spawns, and turrets that are behind triple chains. And for just $7.50, you'll get access to these 2 houses, as well as all of the other content I post there. I'll leave a link in the description or in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, you won't regret it. As always, I recommend immediately laying out the future foundation plan for the house. Here we will have a base with triangles, but we will add 2 squares. The center will be made of HQM, everything else will be sheet metal, and then we start building the starting shack. At the beginning, you will need at least 1 double door. I will immediately upgrade to the final version. You can initially make everything out of stone. Please note that in order to have a bunker in this house, you need to put the TC here, because we will need the far triangle later. I show the location of all the things in this shack. As a result, you will have 5 furnaces, the first workbench, 2 large boxes, and 2 small ones. 2 sleeping bags can be placed in the middle in any order. From the outside, it should look exactly like this. And from the player's point of view, you should understand that it will be very convenient to use all of this. And you will quickly smelt metal for additional doors. By the way, the second door can be placed right here. Then, as soon as resources appear, we immediately make an exit to the second floor. Here we will have an exit through a single door. This will be needed for the future bunker. Later, everything here will be in metal and the lower wall in HQM. We will climb home using a thatched roof. From the outside, it will look something like this. It will be more than enough for the first time. Next, look, see the square foundation? Opposite it, we install an opening for a double door, and similarly on the reverse side, and then we build it up as I do in the video. Do not forget that we also have a starting firefight here. At this stage, you are unlikely to cover all of this with glasses because you will not have them. Therefore, make at least wooden bars and put them so that no one can climb to you. I'll take this opportunity while I'm building the second floor. Thank you for watching, liking, and commenting on my videos. This is only the 2nd video on the channel, but there will be a lot more soon. Videos will be released regularly, so if you're in doubt, now is the time to subscribe and pay attention to the wooden ceiling. There will be an exit to the 3rd floor there later. Next, we return to the same square foundations and make a shelf in the middle of the wall. All of this should eventually be made of metal. This will be your future loot room for 5 boxes, but this loot room still needs to be built correctly. Here, pay attention to the sequence in which I place everything. For example, the bottom ramp needs to be placed first and only then everything else. If you do it the other way around, this ramp will no longer fit. No, you can still build the house, of course. It will just be not very convenient for everyone to use. I want you to enjoy playing and surviving. While your house is not yet finished, be sure to install a double door so that you and your friends are not griefed through this ramp. Our house is completely symmetrical, and we move on to our other square foundation. Here we have to do exactly the same thing. If I built the first side using flight, here I build everything as if I didn't have it. I just use it to make it faster. When you have 2 loot rooms ready, the house should look exactly like this. And if someone decides to climb onto your roof, they won't be able to shoot you through because you have double doors there. And from the eyes of a regular player, it all looks like this. Here you will already have 10 large boxes located at different ends of the house. as well as the starting firefight, which has already been occupied by 2 of your teammates. This is the top for the very beginning of survival. Now look, when you accumulate resources, add a shelf under our window. Then we close all this with 2-story walls. We also add walls under the entrance, but 1 story high. On the other hand, we do exactly the same thing, but only add shelves on both sides, which I marked with campfires. And we also close it with 2-story walls. We make the entrance the way I do it now in the video. We will break the straw later and make a more acceptable entrance. When you are ready to expand, we knock out this wooden ceiling. Then we make such an extension for the exit to the floor above, and we already make the main exit to the future firefight. It is better to put the shelf above the lift in advance. It will be very difficult to do this later because you will have a turret there in the future. We implement the exit using 2 double doors. From the outside, it looks exactly like this. Now, from the side of our square loot rooms, we add walls 1 floor high. But just note that there should be a window opening in it. In the future, there will be a bunker battery there. Now we need to make a foundation plan for our future firefight. Don't be scared that a huge number of foundations are being placed here. I will demolish almost half of the foundations now. We only need those that I will now upgrade to metal. As you can see, it only seemed scary at the beginning. Next, look carefully. We need to put a half wall on the left, in the middle, and on the right. Then we install a double door frame in each of these places, and then we install 2-story windows on these same frames. But that's not all. Next, near our firefight, we make such a temporary extension and add a window opening here. We do this on both sides of the firefight. Do not improve it in any case. We do not need it at all. As a result, you should get something like this. The protection of our house depends on this shooting floor, so we upgrade all this to sheet metal. From the inside, we simply put the ceilings as I do in the video. I also recommend upgrading them to sheet metal right away because it is cheaper than stone. By the way, do not forget to put such bumpers here. They can already be improved to stone forever. Do not forget that we also had pixel peaks on the firefight. We are making them now. I put the ceiling on the half wall so that it would be easier to move around the territory later, and so we just have to raise the frames here right up to the roof. We need to do this on both sides of our firefight. Therefore, what I am building now is a completely analogous story. In terms of improvements, these 2 objects can already be completely upgraded to stone, but you can only upgrade the ceilings to metal. So, consider one side of the firefight finished. If you don't have enough resources, you can always build the pixel peaks later. On the other side, we do exactly the same thing. As you can see, the pixel peaks are built at the end, so if you don't have the resources, you can leave it for later. It doesn't add much protection anyway. We also put the ceilings on this side the same way we did before. Now look, where we're going to have a bunker battery in the future, right next to the ramp, we make an extension on the frames. We do this on both sides of our base. A turret will be placed here later. Now we need to properly build up the center of our house. Here we will have 2 combat spawns, the exits of which must necessarily be on the ramp. This is a very important place in this house, so it is better to upgrade it to sheet metal right away. After all, this is the main combat spawn. And now I'll show you how to set it up so that everything is fine. When you place the bed, be sure to check that it does not protrude after placing the double door, otherwise it can be broken. We do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now, a very important point. Look, here we have a ramp. Right opposite it, we install a turret. If you don't have one, it's okay. You can do it later. The most important thing here is that you should not close the turret with a frame. That is, you need to place it slightly higher than the turret. Then simply add openings, put a ceiling and upgrade. The ceilings, as always, are in metal. Next, we go up higher, again put up whole walls, and add 2 ceilings. The space above the lift is the best place for another automatic turret. As you probably already understood, our house is completely symmetrical, and on the other side, absolutely everything is the same. Here is one lift, here is the second lift, and we simply close everything here with ceilings. Everything except for one moment, that is, there should be no ceiling in the middle. There, we will have a future peak to the roof itself. Above the turret, we put a triangular roof, which will be directed towards the outer side of the base. This is necessary for its protection. And then we put triangular roofs around the entire perimeter of the house, directed towards the center of the house. The roof above the turret must be in default stone skin. Also, the default stone skin must be near our peaks through the sidewall to make you less visibly. You can improve everything else as you like. I upgrade to sheet metal because it looks nice. From a rational point of view, of course, it would be better to use stone. And this is how this very peak on the roof is built. This peak is the most suitable for this house. Next, the final chord is the installation of such ramps. They do not carry any protection in principle, so they can be improved even to wood. And now you have a full-fledged firefight at the very top of your house. Now I'll show you what you need to do to be able to use the peak on the roof. We put a furnace in this place. Then we put either a siren or a Tesla in this place. And that's it. From the outside, everything should look exactly like this. Agree, at this stage, the house is quite beautiful. And this is a completely finished main house. Well, we still need to put turbines at the very top. They are placed in this place. Do not raise the frames too high, otherwise you will simply be raided and TC will be placed there. And I can't allow that. We put turbines on both sides. If you don't have enough energy, there is a place on the roof where you can put more turbines. Now, as for our non-lootable lockers, they can be installed at any time as soon as you have them. Just jump up and put them right from here. Just make sure that they are facing the wall with their front side so that adapters cannot be hung on them. I have commentators who will want to pump out the loot out of them. That's why I mentioned this point in advance. Be sure to add iron ceilings above them. Without these ceilings, these are just ordinary lockers in an inconvenient location. Now let's take care of the external protection of this house. Remember, we built a firefight here. Right in the center of this firefight, we start building our pixel gap. We place 4 straw triangles and a square. Next, we add another square to this square using the same movement as I do in the video. This is very important. Then we put a ceiling where the central half wall is and another ceiling from the house. If something doesn't work out for you, do the same movements as I do. As you can see, I got a gap. So I did everything right and this place can be built up. Be sure to put Codalocks on the chests. I have everything lootable and this pixel gap can be used already. But I would recommend to completely build up this gap right away because this action will at least divert suspicion that you might have something here. Like without a gate, you'll just have a strange structure. It will be very suspicious. As for the upgrades, the pixel gap itself must be either in sheet metal or in HQM. It's up to you. But everything else in this place can already be upgraded to stone. You don't need to waste metal on it. It won't give you much protection, and just put a wooden triangular foundation to make it easy for you to jump on the high foundation. I would recommend putting the doors so that they open towards each other. I think it will be more convenient to use them this way. And in the places where we should have turrets, we put turrets. And we close them with a mesh door and you get a gatehouse like this. I can't stop saying this, but our house is completely symmetrical and we do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now we need to build a bunker between our gatehouses. We put a triangle and lead 7 squares from it. At the end, we install a triangular foundation. Then we demolish all the squares and go back with triangles. As a result, these foundations should dock with the house in the same way as I have in the video. Then pay attention to how I build up this part of the house. To make sure you get it right, you should do the same as I do. Here, upgrade everything to sheet metal, except for the ceilings where the boxes will be. Put the ceilings on top in the same way as I do, so that you have gaps in the same places as I do. This is necessary for the bunker to work. As you know, the new DLC container has a thinner texture than a regular wall. In this case, it's bad, so we upgrade it to default metal here to get rid of the gap. In the bunker itself, simply put a boxes on top and bottom, install a battery in the window opening, and close it with a window. I forgot to put the battery, but you know it should be there. Then we close this bunker with a wall and check its operation with a square roof. On the other side, it's the same, except there is no battery, and don't forget to put a stone frame here. Please note that this bunker we just made is not powered by the house, so it will start to decay. Therefore, you need to add an additional cupboard to your house now. Now I'll show you how to make a freehand bunker. We take a square foundation and install it so that its left tip, as it were, enters the texture of the wall and install it. The stability of the wall should be from 76 to 78, and make sure that the gap is not very large. If it turns out to be large, try again. And to get rid of this gap completely, we need to put a window opening here so that its solid side faces us. We also need to put a wooden shelf for chests here and close it all with sheet metal. I recommend replacing the bunker square foundation with a triangular one. It's very simple to do. Now I'll explain why this is necessary. Next, we open our bunker and our task is to put a square frame right above it. Please note that when you put it, the bunker must remain open. I find it more convenient to do this from above. Inside, I put 2 large boxes, but you can also put small ones. Now we need to connect our 2 bunkers with frames. If for some reason they don't put up, that is, there is not enough stability, then check if you have such an opening, which I will now install. I didn't have enough stability because of it. Now everything is connected and nothing will decay. Why did we do this? If you get raided to the main TC, these multi-TC will prevent you from placing the main cupboard back, but since you have all your resources in stashes, you can disconnect the multi-TC from the house like this. You can then return the cupboard to the main and put everything back in its place. I've been showing this kind of freehand bunker on my Patreon for a long time. If you don't like it or can't build it, you can put absolutely any multi-TC here. You can use this one or you can use another one. The most important thing is that everything is connected. I showed this on the other side of the house. Our house is symmetrical, so you can just do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to put up high external walls. Notice that there's a gap here to our bunker. We're going to close it up with this wall. I strongly recommend that you practice placing these walls on a creative server. Even if these walls are destroyed and they see your gap in the bunker, they still won't be able to loot those boxes. So don't worry about it. A lot of people ask me if it's possible to use stone high walls. Of course you can. Here's an example. I'm going to put them up in the same way. The only difference is that you need to move this wall a little further away from the turret. Otherwise, this wall is quite wide and can block the turret's vision. We obviously don't want that. I'm also going to put these high walls on the other side in the same way. This is what it all looks like in the end. Even if the wall goes onto the foundation, it doesn't interfere with the opening of the bunker. Now, we need to put iron barricades on all our extensions. To make them easier to place, we'll add auxiliary straw triangular ceilings. We'll do this on all 4 sides, and where we have 2 bunkers, we'll add additional sidewalls. This is necessary so that if they jump on your barricades, they at least can't climb over. Plus, it will be convenient to counter from them. I showed you 2 sides. From the other sides, it's all the same. That's the house we got. Thanks for watching my video to the end. Be sure to like and watch my other videos. Thanks, and I'm gonna go and think of a new house.